So, hello Aditya. Many
Hello, ma'am.
congratulations on your result.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, so we are all very happy for you, and I'm sure you are also surrounded by your family, your well-wishers, and this must be a very happy time for you. Very
Yes, ma'am, certainly.
satisfied as well that all your efforts paid off.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
just tell us something about yourself and what you're feeling at this moment?
Ma'am, my name is Aditya Pratap Singh, and in this civil services exam, I have secured All India rank 341. I am originally from Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh. I did my schooling in Barabanki, Uttar Pradesh, and thereafter I went on to pursue from the West Bengal National University of Juridical Sciences, Kolkata, and I graduated from that last year. After which I gave my first attempt, and this year I have cleared this exam.
Okay. All right, Aditya. Okay, just for the purpose of informing our viewers, Aditya was enrolled with our institute, Chrysalis IS, for the Law Foundation course. And then subsequently, before mains, he also enrolled into the Law Answer Writing course, which was a combination of advanced lectures and test series. Am I right, Aditya? That was
Yes,
the...
ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I also attended the revision course.
Yes, the Law Answer Writing and Revision course. Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So could you tell us, Aditya, about what were some of the apprehensions that you had to begin with when you had started your preparation? How did you look at law optional as a subject, and what were the challenges you faced?
Ma'am, with law optional, the most prominent fears among students include the vast nature of the syllabus. It seems vast at, at the inception. However, I think with synchronized preparation and an organized approach where you identify the right study material, which is concise in nature, it can be done in a reasonable amount of time. And then again, the issue of answer writing, how to curate your answers specifically for law optional, how to make it different and value addition. These were the major apprehensions.
Right. So, as you have listed out, I mean, most of the other aspirants also face similar issues, okay, with respect to the vastness of the syllabus and how to try and retain all that they have studied over time and consolidate all of that in the form of some kind of notes and, uh, you know, uh, learning answer writing skills at the same time. So how do you think you benefited from our courses, be it the Law Foundation course, be it the study material, or even the answer writing and revision course? What was it that actually helped you gain confidence that, yes, you can take on this so-called difficult paper in a very easy and managed manner?
I think the most crucial aspects of the courses for me particularly were the answer writing and revision course and the short notes that I have gotten, plus the evaluation feedback. So vis-a-vis the writing course, I think it was quite different from everything else available in the sense that the teaching methodology itself revolved around previous year questions and creating model answers of them. And this is how law paper is to be attempted, because 70 to 80% questions are repeated, and therefore if notes are in the form of model answers, then it becomes very easy to memorize them and later put them back on the answer sheet. So I really found the answer writing course very helpful. And then the evaluation feedback on my answer copies was also helpful in understanding the flaws, such as initially I was not able to put the right headings at the right places, writing good conclusions and introductions to make the answers different. These were several challenges I faced initially, and I was able to overcome them through the feedback.
Okay. Aditya, we just went through your mark sheet, and you are one of those rare students who has scored more in Law 1 versus Law 2. So this is a big achievement in itself, because most students, they find the constitutional law part very difficult to score marks in. So can you discuss your strategy about it? How did you consolidate this vast content of constitutional law in a manner that you could produce quality answers in this Law 1 paper?
Ma'am, my strategy for paper one was slightly different. Most people attempt more questions of section A, that is constitutional law. But I always found public international law to be easier because the content was always the same. The questions, for instance, in constitutional law, the questions are often contemporary in nature and they are quite vague. So you will not find the answers at one place. This model answer style of making notes does not work in constitutional law, while it works in most other subjects. So my strategy was to focus on public international law and do more questions from that. And I had very concise notes prepared on different topics of public international law. So I was able to handle those questions well. And I think that is what helped me fetch more marks in paper one.
Okay, that is very helpful for the co-aspirants if they could, imbibe that strategy and prepare revision notes accordingly. Additionally, Aditya, this is your very first attempt and you have cleared with flying colors. You will be getting the service of your choice. So you will, of course, not attempt another year. So could you discuss some inspiring words or your strategy for other aspirants who are probably in their final year of college and are looking forward to writing this exam, but they are at the moment sort of lost, where to begin and what to study from, how to go about it. So could you discuss your strategy so that they can get inspired and you can guide them in the correct direction?
Ma'am, with respect to starting right from college and having cracked first attempts, I think the most important was creating the right strategy. And as that popular quote goes, if you give me 5 hours to cut a tree, I take the first 4 hours to sharpen my axe. So I had a very clear idea of what I was going to do. Although when you are in the preparation, you always have qualms and doubts about whether you are doing it correctly or not. But insofar as law optional goes, I was very clear that I will study only the coaching notes that I have, which were much more concise than most books that are present. So those coaching notes supplemented with online sources at some places where I found them to be insufficient, and that was there only at a few places. So this way I was able to manage my time along with college, and this helped me get decent marks in the first attempt itself.
Okay. Aditya, one area that most students feel very uncomfortable about, and till the very last moment, they don't have any confidence in that section, that is contemporary legal development. So, what was your strategy going ahead? And did you also worry as much about this section of the paper, or did you have a different strategy altogether?
Ma'am, it is right. Contemporary legal affairs at the beginning seems very difficult. I think because it has the word contemporary in it, a lot of people get sort of misguided because most of the questions are not really contemporary. So if you have some notes on the basic topics, the intellectual property, competition law, etc., you can form decent answers based on your static knowledge of the subjects.
Right.
So you do not have to keep going around surfing online sources. Instead, the better way is to focus on the first part of the paper two, that is torts and criminal law, and perform better in that part. And then using the basic knowledge of these specific subjects mentioned under the contemporary laws, you can score decently in the section.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. And along with CLD, the other part which is asked in section B of Law 2 paper is the mercantile law topics. So contract law and mercantile law again seems to be very challenging in the sense that it is not as difficult to understand, but to retain such a vast amount of content in such limited amount of time. So what did you focus on specifically when it came to the contract and mercantile law part of the syllabus?
Yes, ma'am. So with respect to contract and mercantile law, I think there are two parts of the story. First are questions that are often repeated. For instance, what are the specific requirements of partnership? How does holding out work? So these questions that are repeated, again, have model answers on them ready so that you are able to write them very quickly. And for the miscellaneous ones that may be asked for the first time, and those are few and far in between. For that, you have to read the Bare Act itself and try to understand the provisions, because a lot of these provisions are very natural. If you think about the provisions, they make sense why they are framed in a certain manner. So in that sense, it becomes easier to remember it. Finally, combining these two, you have to make concise notes so that you can do multiple revisions of the same. Because if you keep referring back to the basic material, then it becomes very lengthy and it seems overwhelming. So taking these two approaches and making notes out of them will help.
Okay. And lastly, Aditya, could you tell us about how you had your own strategy about time management? Because the law, many people put in a lot of hard work, but on the day of the exam, in the law paper, they're not able to produce all that knowledge within the limited amount of time. So what did you focus on? What was the most important thing that you kept in mind right from the very first hour of the paper?
Ma'am, I think vis-a-vis time management, the most important part is prior to writing the exam. So initially, I was also not very good at completing the papers. I remember I completed my first law optional test in 4 hours, and we discussed it with you also. But later on, as I gave more and more marks, I inculcated the feedback and I tried to complete the paper in time. And once you write 5 mocks of both paper one and paper two each, then you should get a decent hold over time and form a crystal clear idea of how much time are you going to each question. So how many minutes to the 10 markers, how many minutes to the 15 and 20 markers. And once you have this fair idea, stick to the same and do not deviate. This will help you in completing the paper in time.
Thank you, thank you. And Aditya, with respect to the emphasis which most students have on case laws, do you think in the amount of content that you need to write for attempting a comprehensive answer, so do you need to actually write too many case laws, or is it a better strategy to go ahead and write a multi-dimensional answer and not focus so much on case laws? What was your strategy?
Ma'am, in my understanding, certainly having case law helps your answer. However, a multi-dimensional answer is much better than one that is merely sprinkled with cases. So my approach was to find the most prominent one or two cases under each heading, and more cases if it is a very important topic. For instance, the definition of state under the constitution or murder and culpable homicide. There I memorize more cases, but for most topics, one or two cases suffice. And then I focus mainly on headings and making the answer multidimensional. Plus, if you do not remember cases, you can always use illustrations and make it interesting. This way, one can fetch more marks.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for sharing this valuable experience and what worked for you and what did not. You have cleared this exam in your very first attempt. We wish you all the very best. Hope you have a very bright and fulfilling career ahead, and you continue to be an inspiring model for all the other aspirants who are going to attempt this exam in the upcoming years.
Thank you so much. Notes बहुत अच्छे थे obviously क्योंकि वो concise थे. Like I really wanted the notes. वो मेरे लिए main था. तो उसी लिए I always felt कि ये answer writing course और notes club होने चाहिए. Like that is a treat I would want. उसमें like I would be really happy. मतलब सब कुछ best. मैम यही तो हमसे कोई भी पूछता है तो हम यही रिकमेंड करते हैं कि आपका जो आंसर राइटिंग कोर्स है, जैसे उससे हमको बहुत बहुत ज्यादा कुछ सीखने को मिला. अब वो अगर थोड़ा और एग्जॉस्टिव होता और हम भी थोड़ा और ध्यान देते चीजें याद करने, जैसे हम मेरी भी टाइमलाइन थोड़ी डिस्टर्ब थी. आई टोल्ड यू ओनली कि आधा चीजें हम बाद में कर रहे थे फिल्म्स के. तो ये चीजें इफ ओनली आई हैड डन दिस अर्लियर कंबाइंड विद दिस रिवीजन वाला कोर्स, लाइक अगर मॉडल आंसर्स के साथ ही नोट्स प्रिपेयर करने वाला तरीका और अच्छे से अडॉप्ट किया, आई थिंक एनएलयू स्टूडेंट्स को यही दैट एक तो दे शुड गेट होल्ड ऑफ देयर टाइमलाइन कि बाद के लिए मत छोड़ो भाई, जॉब्स में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, पहले से करना चाहिए. मेरा भी लैकिंग पार्ट यही था मेन. आई थिंक आपके आंसर राइटिंग का इवैल्यूएशन वाज लाइक बियॉन्ड फैंटास्टिक. तो मैम एनएलयू स्टूडेंट्स के लिए यही है, मतलब आई थिंक हम लोग को फोकस करने की जरूरत है कि आंसर राइटिंग स्टाइल कैसे सही हो ये तो आपने काफी हद तक मेरा करवा दिया था, मल्टी डायमेंशनल एनालिसिस वाली बातें हो गई, और इलस्ट्रेशंस लिखने का आई थिंक आपने काफी अच्छे से, वो हमको फीडबैक बहुत अच्छा लगा था। आपने इलस्ट्रेशन में बताया था कि कैसे कीवर्ड्स को हमेशा इलस्ट्रेशन में डालना है, जो सेक्शन का कीवर्ड होता है वो इलस्ट्रेशन में जाना चाहिए, और फिर उसको एक्सप्लेन करना चाहिए कि कैसे ये कीवर्ड आपके लॉ को जस्टिफाई कर रहा है। इलस्ट्रेशन आपने बहुत अच्छे से समझाई थी कैसे लिखते हैं। तो इन सब चीजों पे हम लोग और ज्यादा फोकस कर सकते हैं। और बाकी ये कि हाँ, कॉन्फिडेंस के चक्कर में ये नहीं करना है कि छोड़ दिया लॉ ऑप्शनल आ जाए। अब वो कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं बोलेंगे, पता नहीं क्या टाइम मैनेजमेंट का इशू था, प्रिपरेशन की टाइम मैनेजमेंट का, कि नहीं हो पाया। बट हाँ, तो ये रहेगा, आंसर राइटिंग इज द मेन बिट मेरे हिसाब से, और स्पेशली अगर आपके नोट्स आंसर राइटिंग फॉर्मेट में, दैट इज फैंटास्टिक। Mocks, the model answers of the mocks were also great, but the answer writing and revision course was fantastic. I mean, like, I was impressed. That was the best thing in my experience.